Congratulations! You have $100,000. That is a massive accomplishment. But let's put it in context. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, that's about 1.6 years of the median American salary before tax. And with inflation running at 3.1%, that pile of cash will lose over $3,000 in purchasing power this year alone if you do nothing. This video gives you the 7 specific, data-backed steps to stop the bleeding and start the building. Let's start with step 1. This is the simplest but most urgent action you need to take. It's the emergency brake for your money. The core problem we need to solve immediately is that your $100,000, if it's sitting in a standard bank account, is a depreciating asset. Think about that for a second. The money you work so hard to save is actively losing value every single day. The reason is inflation. According to the latest data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics for November 2024, the current inflation rate is 3.1%. What this means in plain English is that in 1 year, your $100,000 will only buy what $96,900 buys today. You've lost $3,100 of real-world purchasing power without spending a dime. It's an invisible tax that punishes savers who do nothing. Most traditional checking or savings accounts pay a microscopic interest rate, something like 0.01%. On $100,000, that's a laughable $10 in interest for the entire year. So while inflation is taking $3,100 out of your back pocket, your bank is putting a single $10 bill back in. That's a net loss of $3,090. This isn't a theoretical problem. It's a real, tangible loss you are experiencing right now if your money isn't in the right place. The immediate solution is startlingly simple. Move the majority of that cash into a high-yield savings account, or HYSA, as soon as possible. We're not talking about a complex investment. We're talking about a different type of savings account that does the same job as your current one, but actually pays you a respectable amount of interest. For this first step, you'd keep a small portion, say $10,000, in your regular checking account for immediate liquidity, paying bills, daily expenses, and emergencies. The other $90,000 needs to be put to work immediately to defend itself against inflation. This isn't about getting rich. It's about not getting poor. It's the foundational move that stops the financial bleeding and stabilizes the patient. The lesson here is that an HYSA with a competitive rate isn't just a slightly better option. It's a fundamental tool for wealth preservation. As of December 2024, reputable sites like Bankrate show dozens of FDIC-insured banks offering over 4.5% APY. This isn't a teaser rate. It's the new standard for online savings. By moving your money, you not only stop the inflationary loss, but you begin to generate a real, positive return on your cash with virtually zero risk. An FDIC-insured HYSA protects your money up to $250,000, just like a traditional bank. The only difference is that these online-focused banks have lower overhead, so they pass the savings on to you in the form of higher interest rates. Earning 4.5% in a risk-free account when inflation is at 3.1% means you are now generating a real return of 1.4%. You've officially gone from losing money to making money. Let's make this real with our case study, Alex. Alex is 32 a senior project manager making $95,000 a year. He has exactly $100,000 saved up and sitting in a traditional checking account that earns 0.01% APY. He feels incredibly proud of hitting that six-figure milestone, but he's also paralyzed by the fear of making a wrong investment decision and losing it all. He hears stories about stocks and crypto and feels completely overwhelmed. Right now, Alex's $100,000 is losing that $3,100 per year in real value. His bank is paying him just $10. He's in the negative by $3,090 annually. So Alex takes this first step. He spends less than an hour online, finds an FDIC-insured HYSA offering 4.5% APY and initiates a transfer of $90,000, leaving $10,000 behind for his monthly expenses. What's the outcome? That $90,000 now earns $4,050 in interest per year. That's $337.50 hitting his account every single month. He has instantly turned a $3,100 annual loss into a net gain. This tangible, low-risk win is a massive confidence booster. It proves he can take control of his finances and prepares him for the next steps. So here is your action for this step. This week, go to a comparison site like Bankrate or NerdWallet. Find an FDIC-insured high-yield savings account with a competitive APY. Open the account online and initiate the transfer. This is the most important financial decision you can make in the next 7 days. Comment below with HYSA if you've already done this or plan to this week. Now that you've stopped the bleeding, it's time to start building the engine for long-term growth. This brings us to step 2 and step 3, which are all about creating an automation engine that can realistically generate a 10.7% average return over the long run. The problem most people face at this stage is temptation. The world of finance is noisy. You hear about friends making a fortune on a single tech stock or a new cryptocurrency that's supposedly the next big thing. This creates a powerful sense of FOMO, or fear of missing out. The temptation is to try and pick the next winning stock, to find that diamond in the rough that will turn your $100,000 into $1 million overnight. But the data is overwhelmingly clear. For the vast majority of people, including so-called professionals, trying to pick winning stocks is a proven losing strategy. You're more likely to underperform the market than to beat it. And in many cases, you risk significant losses. The desire to get rich quick is the enemy of actually getting rich. So what's the solution? We fight this temptation with a 2-part automated strategy. Step 2 is to open a Roth IRA and automate contributions to a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. A Roth IRA is a powerful retirement account where your money grows completely tax-free. For 2024, the IRS allows you to contribute up to $7,000. That breaks down to about $583 a month. Inside this account, you're not buying individual stocks. You're buying an index fund, which is like buying a tiny slice of the 500 largest companies in the U.S. stock market. You're betting on the American economy as a whole, not on the fortunes of a single company. Step 3 is even simpler. If your employer offers a 401k with a company match, you must contribute enough to get 100% of that match. For example, if your company matches 100% of your contributions up to 5% of your salary, you need to contribute 5%. Not doing so is literally turning down a guaranteed instant 100% return on your money. It is the single best investment you will ever find, and it's a gift from your employer. These two steps together form your automated wealth-building engine. The lesson here is a profound one that should change how you view investing forever. You win by buying the whole market cheaply and consistently, not by trying to outsmart it. Don't just take my word for it. S&P's own research in their 2023 SPIVA report found that an incredible 91.3% of professional large-cap fund managers failed to beat the market, represented by the S&P 500 index, over the last 15 years. Let that sink in. These are people with advanced degrees, teams of analysts, and supercomputers, and more than 9 out of 10 of them failed to do better than a simple, boring index fund. If they can't do it, why would we think we can? So why do 91% of these highly paid professionals fail? It comes down to 2 factors we can control completely. I'll explain exactly what they are in 60 seconds. The first is fees. Actively managed funds charge high fees that eat away at your returns. Index funds have incredibly low fees. The second is human emotion. Professionals are just as susceptible to fear and greed as the rest of us, causing them to buy high and sell low. Automation removes that emotion from the equation. Okay, that was a lot of data. Let's make it real. Back to Alex's situation. After opening the HYSA, Alex was feeling the pressure from friends to buy the next big thing. He was experiencing intense FOMO and was tempted to use a chunk of his savings to gamble on a hot tech stock. His employer also offers a 5% 401k match, but he was only contributing 3%, leaving free money on the table. Then he sees the data. He reviews the SPIVA report, showing that 91.3% of pros fail. And this statistic shatters the illusion of easy stock picking. He realizes the boring path is the statistically superior one. So he takes action. First, he opens a Roth IRA with a low-cost brokerage and sets up an automatic transfer of $583.33 per month to be invested in an S&P 500 index fund like VFIAX or SPY. Second, he logs into his work benefits portal and increases his 401k contribution from 3% to 5%, ensuring he captures the full employer match. The outcome is transformative. Alex now has 2 automated investment streams working for him. His Roth IRA is growing tax-free, and his 401k is getting an instant 100% return on that matched portion. This systematic, data-driven approach removes emotion and FOMO from his financial life, allowing him to focus on the long term. While past performance is no guarantee of future results, the historical average annual return of the S&P 500 since its modern inception has been around 10.7%. That's our long-term target. Your actions for these 2 steps are clear. For step 2, open a Roth IRA and automate your contribution to an S&P 500 index fund. For step 3, log into your employer's benefits portal and make sure you are contributing enough to get every single dollar of your company match. You've handled the basics. You've stopped the bleeding with an HYSA and started the engine with automated passive investing. Now we're moving on to step 4. Maximizing your unfair advantages. The primary unfair advantage the average person has is access to tax-sheltered accounts. The problem many people face after they've started investing is a question of optimization. Once you've secured your 401k match and you're on track to max out your Roth IRA, what do you do with any additional money you're able to save. Leaving that extra investment money in a regular taxable brokerage account is inefficient. While it's certainly better than not investing at all, you're leaving a significant tax advantage on the table. Every time you sell an investment for a profit in a taxable account, you owe capital gains taxes. Every time you receive a dividend, you owe taxes on it that year. These small tax drags might not seem like much, but over decades, they can add up to tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost growth. The solution for step 4 is to go back to your 401k and increase your contributions beyond the company match, with the ultimate goal of aiming for the annual federal limit. Once the free money from the match is secured, your 401k becomes the next most powerful tool in your arsenal. The ultimate goal here is the 2024 IRS limit of $23,000 for employee contributions. You may not hit it this year, and that's perfectly okay. But that is the ceiling you are working towards. Every extra dollar you can direct here works harder for you than it would in a standard brokerage account. The lesson is all about tax efficiency. Every single dollar you contribute to a traditional 401k reduces your taxable income for that year. Let's say you're in the 22% federal tax bracket. For every $100 you contribute to your 401k, you immediately save $22 on your taxes. This is an instant, guaranteed return that you get before your money has even had a chance to be invested. That money then gets to grow inside the account tax deferred, meaning you don't pay any taxes on the growth year after year. You only pay taxes when you withdraw the money in retirement, presumably when your income and tax rate will be lower. This combination of an immediate tax break and decades of tax-deferred growth is an accelerator for your wealth that is simply unavailable in a normal investment account. Let's check back in with Alex. He now has his automation in place for the Roth IRA max $7,000 per year and his 5% 401k match. After doing a detailed budget, he realizes he has an extra $500 per month in savings capacity. He isn't sure what the most optimal home for that extra $500 is. Should he open a taxable brokerage account? Should he aggressively pay down his low-interest student loans? Or is there a better option? By following this plan, he learns that contributing that extra $500 a month, or $6,000 a year, directly to his 401k will reduce his taxable income by $6,000. Assuming he's in the 22% marginal tax bracket, this provides an immediate tax savings of about $1,320 for the year. That's money he would have otherwise just sent to the IRS. So he logs back into his benefits portal and increases his contribution percentage again. The outcome is powerful. Alex now has a crystal clear priority order for every dollar he saves. It goes first 401k up to the match, second Roth IRA up to the max, and third 401k up to the max. This simple hierarchy eliminates decision fatigue and ensures he is always making the most mathematically and tax-efficient choice with his money. Your action for step 4 is to create a budget and see how much more you can contribute to your 401k each paycheck. Log into your benefits portal and increase your contribution percentage. Even a 1% increase makes a huge difference over time, compounding for decades to come. At this point, you have a robust system in place. But what happens when you've done everything right? What do you do when your tax-advantaged accounts are maxed out for the year? And how does debt, a major factor in most people's lives, fit into this plan? This brings us to step 5 and step 6. Accelerate by expanding your investments and strategically eliminating debt. The problem is a good one to have. You have more money to invest than your tax-advantaged accounts can legally accept. The second problem is a common one. You have debt, like credit cards, student loans, or a car loan, and you're not sure whether to invest your extra cash or pay down that debt. This is where people often get stuck, paralyzed by two seemingly good options. The solutions are sequential and based on simple math. For step 5, once you have maxed out all available tax-advantaged accounts, the next logical step is to open a taxable brokerage account. You would ideally do this with the same low-cost provider as your Roth IRA and invest in the exact same low-cost S&P 500 index fund. This keeps your strategy simple and consistent. This is the next bucket to fill. For step 6, you must attack high-interest debt with extreme prejudice. We define high-interest debt as anything with an interest rate over 8 to 10%. This typically includes credit card debt, personal loans, and some private student loans. Paying off this type of debt is a guaranteed, risk-free return on your money. The lesson here is one of the most important in all of personal finance. Paying off a credit card with a 22% APR is mathematically equivalent to getting a guaranteed 22% investment return. Let's put this on the screen. On one side, a guaranteed 20%. On the other, a historical average of 10.7% from the stock market, which is not guaranteed. Why would you chase an uncertain 10.7% in the market when you have a guaranteed, tax-free 22% return waiting for you by paying off your credit card? The math is undeniable. For low-interest debt, like a student loan at 4% or a mortgage at 5%, the math flips. The expected return in the stock market is significantly higher, so it makes more sense to make the minimum payments on that cheap debt and invest the difference to capture that higher potential return. Let's see how Alex handles this. He is now on track to max out all of his tax-advantaged accounts for the year. He has 2 debts to his name: a $15,000 student loan at a 4% interest rate, and a lingering $5,000 credit card balance at a toxic 22% APR. He's unsure where to direct his extra cash flow. Using this framework, Alex prioritizes his debt by interest rate. The 22% APR on the credit card is a financial emergency. He diverts all extra savings and even some cash from his HYSA to eliminate that $5,000 balance as quickly as humanly possible. Every dollar he puts towards it is a guaranteed 22% return. While he does this, he continues to make the normal minimum payments on his 4% student loan. Why? Because the expected 10.7% return in his S&P 500 fund is much higher than the 4% he is paying in interest. It is mathematically optimal to invest the difference. The outcome is that Alex eliminates his toxic high-interest debt, which frees up hundreds of dollars in monthly cash flow and an immeasurable amount of mental energy. He now has a clear, data-driven framework for evaluating all future debt. Your actions for these steps are straightforward. Step 5. If and when you max out your tax-advantaged accounts, open a taxable brokerage and continue your investment plan there. Step 6. List out all of your debts and their interest rates. Attack anything with an interest rate above 8% with every spare dollar you have. But what about a mortgage? With rates around 7%, should you pay it off early or invest? That's a much tougher question, and it deserves its own video. Subscribe so you don't miss it. We've reached the final and most important step. Step 7. This is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. This step is the annual checkup, and it's how you stay on course for the long haul. The problem is that a plan is utterly useless if you don't stick to it. Over the 20, 30, or 40 years you'll be investing, you will face terrifying market crashes, manic bull runs, and a constant stream of media hype designed to make you panic. Financial news networks and social media influencers will constantly tempt you to abandon your simple, proven strategy for something new and exciting. The greatest threat to your financial success isn't the market. It's your own emotional reaction to the market. So, the solution, step 7, is to schedule an annual financial checkup. This is a once-a-year meeting with yourself. During this checkup, you simply review your progress, confirm you're on track with your savings goals, and make minor, unemotional adjustments. For example, you'll check if the IRS has increased the contribution limits for the 401k or Roth IRA and adjust your automated contributions accordingly. You're not checking your portfolio performance day to day. You're not reacting to the news. You are simply ensuring that your automated system is still running as designed. The lesson here is that the core of this entire strategy is consistency. It's about trusting the data over the drama. Remember where we started? With the fact that over 90% of pros can't beat the market. This is the moment that statistic matters most. When everyone else is panicking and selling at the bottom, you stick to the data. When everyone is greedy and piling into a bubble, you stick to the data. Your single greatest advantage as an individual investor is your ability to ignore the noise, to be patient, and to let your automated plan work its magic over decades of compound growth. Let's fast forward 1 year with Alex. He is now 33. He's been following this plan diligently for 12 months. It's been a tough year, and the stock market is down 5%. His friends who bought those hot tech stocks are panicking. Alex looks at his portfolio and, while it has grown overall because of his consistent contributions, the investment portion shows a paper loss. He feels that emotional pull, that gut-wrenching urge to do something. Maybe sell everything and wait for the market to recover. But then his calendar reminder pops up. Annual financial review. During his scheduled review, he forces himself to look at his plan, not the portfolio's daily value. He rereads the S&P SPIVA statistic. 91.3% of active managers fail. And reminds himself that trying to time the market is a losing game. He sees that the market being down means he's been buying shares on sale all year. He confirms his automated contributions are set for the new year, notes that the IRS limits haven't changed. And then he closes his laptop. He trusts the process. The outcome is critical. Alex successfully navigates his first market downturn without making an emotional mistake. This builds the psychological resilience he needs to stay invested for decades and actually reach his long-term goals. Your action for this final step is the simplest of all. Right now, open the calendar app on your phone or computer. Go to the first week of next year and create a recurring annual appointment. Title it Annual Financial Review. That's it. You've just built the safeguard that will protect you from your own worst instincts and keep you on the path to wealth. Let's quickly recap the entire plan. We covered 7 data-backed steps to take control of your first $100,000. First, your top priority is to move your cash from a checking account to a high-yield savings account to beat inflation. That is step 1, your emergency brake. Second, automate your long-term wealth building by using tax-advantaged accounts like a 401k and Roth IRA to invest in broad, low-cost index funds. This is your growth engine. Third, the key to success is sticking to the data-backed plan, especially when the market is volatile. Trust the numbers, not the noise, by conducting a simple annual review. Here are your action steps. Your immediate action to be done this week is to open that high-yield savings account. This is non-negotiable and the foundation of everything else. Your short-term action for this month is to set up your automated investments. Go get your full 401k match and start your Roth IRA contributions. And your long-term action is to schedule that recurring annual review in your calendar right now to stay the course and ignore the hype for years to come. If you found this data-driven approach valuable, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. We release videos like this every week, breaking down complex financial topics into simple, actionable steps. And finally, if you know someone who just hit a big savings goal and is wondering, what's next? Share this video with them. It could be the most important financial guidance they get. Disclaimer: I am not a financial advisor, and this video is for educational purposes only. All investments involve risk. Please consult with a licensed professional before making any financial decisions. All data is from the sources cited, primarily the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, S&P Dow Jones Indices, Bankrate, and the IRS, as of late 2024.